What's your reaction to Roy stepping down and what you just heard from him right there?
I was surprised but not shocked. But what Roy Williams was talking to, the culture of college basketball has changed. Roy Williams is about relationships. He's about helping build bridges for people to cross. He's about developing real relationships and watching guys go through the process. He's not about one and done. He's not about the transfer portal. He's not about even probably NIL. He's about coaching and the relationships that you develop when you're a coach. If you ever had a chance to listen to Marcus Page's senior night speech, you'd better understand what I'm talking about. That type of relationship is really hard to find in the culture of college basketball. And I think that's what took Roy Williams away from North Carolina. It's not the coaching. It's not the teaching. It's not the competition. It's not the grind. It's the relationship aspect of it. And when he talks about, I'm not the right man for the job now, because the job is different. It's a different job. It's not a young man's job. It's not an old man's job. But the job is different. And unless you understand what the new culture of college basketball is all about and you are all in, then you know what? It's hard to be successful. 3 point guards in 3 years. One of his two best big guys that came in as freshmen are going to be gone next year. One and dones is not what Roy Williams is about, because you don't develop those rich relationships with your players in 1 year, in 7 months. So I think he looked in the mirror and said, you know what? This is not why I got into coaching. And I'd rather step away than continue to do it this way. That's why he got into it. His legacy will be those hundreds of players whose lives he touched and helped them become more prepared for the rest of their lives. Because that's why he got into coaching. Remember now, he took that North Carolina job for $4,500. He was running around all over North Carolina delivering calendars for Dean Smith. It wasn't about the money. The money found him because of the way things have changed. But the relationship thing is his legacy.
Let me say this real quick, and then we can move on, because we got you here, and I want to ask a couple of questions about the Final Four. Roy Williams is one of the great coaches that has ever coached in this game. He's phenomenal, and he's a great man as well. I love the guy personally. But I want to say this, that transfer portal you just brought up a little while ago, Coach, there's over 1,000 kids in that transfer portal.
1,100.
Over 1,000 kids. It's changing the landscape of college basketball, and it's going to compromise high school kids coming to college, because you're going to have coaches looking for dudes in that transfer portal before they even looking at the high school athletes. So we got to keep our eyes on that and see what percolates from that. And in terms of Roy Williams, you brought up Matt Doherty. You brought up Doherty, the former coach at North Carolina, right? Yep. He was horrible. And people forget about this. North Carolina had sunk. Had sunk. They were in an abyss. And Roy Williams came and resurrected.
Yeah, that's what's crazy about it.
That's what's so special about it. It wasn't that he didn't inherit it from Dean Smith. They sunk, and he revitalized them to what we knew them to be.
That might be his legacy.
That's the legacy,
he brought
even
North
more
Carolina
so than Kansas. But I want to go to this NCAA thing. What's the best story in the Final Four coming into this weekend? Coach, you know where I stand. Where do you stand?
Look, and that's a great story. Is it the pursuit of perfection for Gonzaga? It might be. Is it Kelvin Sampson's kind of rising from the abyss and taking over a Houston program that was absolutely, you talk about dead in the water, absolutely no interest, apathetic, and dead in the water? No doubt. There's no doubt about it. Is it Mick Cronin, who no one thought was going to be successful, who no one thought would fit in Westwood, all of a sudden going through a number one, a number two, beating Michigan State and getting to the Final Four? Or is it Baylor, who had that long pause and everyone said, wait a second, they lost something? I'm not sure what the best story is. I think that right now we have two really interesting games, and we've got a lot of stories. But you know what, Steve Vinay, and listening to you before I got on the air, you're right. The most interesting story probably isn't on the men's side.
It's on the female side with Paige Beckett. I mean, this is the Steph Curry of women's basketball. This girl, she's special. This girl can pull up from 30. Yeah. She can pull up from 30.
Get familiar.
I'm watching this girl shoot the basketball. I'm like, oh, my Lord. This girl is something special.
As you would say, a basketball savant.
And a freshman that's the player of the year. Lord. That's all I wanted to say about that. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, you're right. That probably is a story of the tournament, of college basketball.
That's the story. She got me glued. I'll be watching her.
Is the story of college basketball.
I'll be watching her.
Of course, Molly. We know
Go ahead,
that.
Max.
Yeah, hey, but let's get to our games real quickly because everyone's talking about like the Houston Baylor game is going to be an absolute rock fight. It's going to be an absolute draw a line in the sand each and every play. The ball is going to go up in the rim. And you're going to see bodies flying all over the place. You've got two terrific backcourts. It's like looking in the mirror. But the interesting one also, can UCLA get this game against Gonzaga to a crawl? The uglier the game gets against Gonzaga, the better it is for UCLA. And UCLA figured out a way to beat Alabama in a high-scoring game, 23 points in overtime. Obviously figured out a way to beat Michigan in a slow-paced game, beat Michigan State in a fist fight. We talk about UCLA. I'm not sure we give them the respect they deserve. They've earned their way to the Final Four. Whether you like it or not, that's the great thing about the NCAA tournament. All right? You don't just arrive there. You earn your way there. Are they the teams that people thought were going to be there? No. But UCLA and Houston have earned their way, and I think we're going to have a great Final Four on the men's side.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.